Hello again. We are back with another tutorial and playthrough, and this time we are diving into Cloudspire. Cloudspire is a strategic game where players are leading asymmetric factions. They try to get their hand on more sources to upgrade their fortress, build more spire, which work as tower defense, and control their minions and hero to achieve their objectives. The game can be played competitively. It can also be played solo or co-op. In competitive, the goal is simple. You are trying to bring down the health of your opponent or opponent's fortress gate to 0. The solo co-op comes with a different scenario, and each scenario is giving you different objectives that you're trying to achieve during the game. So for teaching the game, I'm going to play through a solo scenario. The solo scenario book comes with a scenario that is designed to teach the game. It's learning the wine. I will be playing through that scenario. And by watching that, you should have enough information how the game works in a competitive form as well. Because when you're playing solo, so you're playing as a player and the opponent is following the AI rule. If you're playing in a competitive form, of course, each player is using the rules that applies to the player. There are some instances that the competitive form is a little different. I try to mention all of them as we go through them, but for most of the game, the playing through the solo scenario should give you enough information how the game works in general. Alright, that's enough me rambling, let's jump into it. So, for the game, each player chooses a faction and get all the components belonging to that faction. In a solo or co-op, the scenario gives you the faction, but in a competitive form, you are choosing the faction. So we are playing solo, we are playing learning the vine, we are playing as Brownen against Grove Tenders. So we get everything belonging to Brownen, which are these chips, the dice, the chip that indicate your mark, the fortress, a health and a source counter. These are the same for all factions. It's not like that each faction has its own, you just get one of those. And your reference sheet. So let's talk about each of them. This is your fortress. This hex is called Fortress Gate. This is where your units deploy from. And this is where your opponent's attack when it's attacking your fortress gate. Here you can see these glowing dots. These are called the Fortress Source Well. I'm going to talk about Source Well later as we go through the game. Here you can see certain number with different names. These are where you indicate you got a fortress upgrade. So you can upgrade your fortress. I'm going to talk about it more how. Whenever you get an upgrade, you get one of these pegs. Put it in that place to show that you have that upgrade. For example, if I get the first level of honor pit, I put this here to show that I have this. Here is the place where you put the dice as you get them. And here goes your health and source. These chips are two-sided. So here you can see this goes from 1 to 10. This side goes from 1 to 15. This goes from 0 to 20. The other side goes from 21 to 30. You always put it on the side with lower numbers. And it stays there unless you have an ability that lets you go over it, which means your source counter stays on this side and can maximum to 20. If you gain more than 20 source, it's wasted, unless you have an ability that tell you that you can go over that number. The same for health. So in a competitive game, you always start with 10 health and 0 source. In solo or co-op, the scenario tells you what to start with. It's usually the same, but it may differ. When you set up the map, you can see the numbers. I'm going to talk about that later when we check. These die, each faction has its own unique die. You just put them somewhere within your reach. The chips could be these gold ones, which are heroes. The bronze one, which are minions, and the silver one, which are the spires. They are all two-sided. One side of it is this normal side, the other side is promoted side that you can see with the stars on them. You always put them on the normal side and they deploy on the normal side. unless there is an ability that promotes them. Heroes promote in the same way through all faction. Minion, for each faction, there is a different way to promote them. For example, in the case of Brownen, they promote through Fortress upgrade. The same for the Spire, except that the other side of the Spire, the promoted side, is a different Spire. So you need to find an ability to be able to build that Spire. So let's look at each chip. Here you can see the health, attack stat, movement stat, CP or the command point that you need to spend to deploy them. And here you can see the source that is granted to your opponent if they defeat it. And here you can see the talent that they may have. It's the same for minions as well. So health, attack stat, movement stat, CP, and source that is granted to the opponent if they defeat it, and the talent. In the case of hero, you may see these dots. This is the upgrade capacity of hero. I'm going to talk about it later as we go through the game. Also in this corner, you may or may not see some of these signs. For example, here you can see it, here there is none, here again for minion you can see them. What do they mean? So you can see the different type of terrain in the game. We have path, plain, forest, mountain, and water. There is a hierarchy for movement for different type of terrain. You can see that the back of your rulebook or rule reference. Here you can see that the unit that can walk on water, it can walk in all terrains. The unit that can walk on mountain can walk on all terrains except for water, and so on and so forth. So the next is forest, the next is plain, and if there is no icon, it's only path. So it can, if the unit doesn't have any icon, it can only walk on path. So for example, let's look at Osh. He has the icon for forest, which means he can walk to path, plain, forest, but he can't walk to mountain or lake. And as I said, they also have certain talents. You can check your reference sheet for the talents. And you have the spires. So for the spires, you can see the kind of upgrade they start with. It could be fortification, attack, or range. You can see these dots, which is the maximum number of upgrade they can have. It is possible that the maximum number of upgrade is lower than the thing that they start with. For example, in the case of the drilling outpost, the maximum number is 0, but it starts with a fortification already, which means when you build it with this fortification, but later if it comes out, you can add more to it later. This is the amount of source that you have to pay to build it, and this is the amount of source that's granted to your opponent if they defeat it. So in the game, you have this, that is your barrack. You can set your barrack using your chip, so the heroes goes in front. Then you put your minions. And you put your spire in the back. It's a good idea to sort your minion by their command point. That way it's easier for you to find what you want. You also have this reference sheet. On one side of it, it's the explanation of your faction, your minions and hero, how your minions gets promoted, about your spire, and there are some additional rules that may apply to you. You can see it in here. You can also see the fortress upgrade. How much does it cost to get that fortress upgrade, and what will be the benefit of it? On the other side, there is a list of your heroes, minion, and spire, with all of their stat, their command point, and the explanation of each talent. So you keep this somewhere within your reach. And lastly, you have this chip that indicates your mark. I'm going to talk about mark later. And You need to do the same thing for AI, of course. So you set their barrack, you get their fortress with the health and source and their dice. Next thing you need to do is set up the map. To set up the play area, you check your scenario book. So each scenario comes with its own play area. You can see here the number of the hex and their orientation. So there are two kinds of hex group in the game. You have these bigger ones that are called isles, and these smaller ones that are called earth escape. These are both called hex group, and they're all numbered. You can see the number of hex group in one of the corners. For example, you can see this one would be number 5. If it's hard for you to find it that way, there is a list in the scenario book as well. You can check how each isle looks like in the scenario book and find it that way. So you can see all the isles and the hex group are numbered, also the fortress. So I already set up the map before we begin. So you put them in the same orientation as the scenario tells you. Also, you attach the fortress where the scenario tells you to attach them. So we attach our fortress here as the scenario tells us. And you can also see that we are starting with 0 source and 10 health. The same applies to AI as well. So we put our source counter at 0 and our health counter at 10. And our map is set up. Here's how you set up your game in a multiplayer game. I'm just gonna explain it for 2-player, but for 3 or 4 it's basically the same thing. Whenever I'm talking about the second player, just think about it as the last player. So you put the isle number 1, which is the center isle in the middle. It is the isle with the source well in the middle of it. Then from the rest of the isles, you shuffle them and you put 6 randomly around it. So let's say we put it like this. Whatever isle that is not chosen is out of the game. You can put it there. Then the second player choose one isle and flip it face up. Let's say the second player choose this one and flip it. They can turn it however they want and place it back, but at least one pass hex here must be adjacent to one pass hex in the center isle. So I can put it this way. One pass hex is adjacent. I can put it this way. Still one pass hex is adjacent, and so on and so forth. Let's say he decides to put it this way. Then that player attaches the fortress to that isle. For attaching the fortress to the isle, this fortress gate has to be adjacent to 3 hexes, and at least one of those hexes has to be a pass hex. Also, the fortress should be set level, which means you can put it like this, so that like half of it is over another isle. For example, I can put it here. It is adjacent to 3 hex, and at least one of them is pass hex. Also put it like this. Again, at least 3 hex, and one of them is pass hex. And that's it. Then the player before that player does the same thing, but he cannot flip these 2. So from one of these 3, let's say they flip this one, the same rule applies. And they attach to the fortress, again, the same rule applies. At least 3 hex, one of them has to be path hex, so they can't put it like this, because these are all mounted. But they can put it like this, for example. There are 3 hexes, at least one of them is path hex, and the fortress is staying level. Then it goes back to the last player again. They flip one of these, orient it however they want. First player does the same thing, and so on and so forth, until you have all the files flipped, and that's your flip. Next thing you need to do is set up the landmark. Before I talk about landmark, let me talk about Sourcewell. I already talked about Fortress Sourcewell. Here you can see also in the play area there are some glowing blue points. These are called the Sourcewell. At the beginning of the game, you put the landmark on them. I'm going to talk about landmark in a second. When they're cleared up, you can start building Spire on them. So Spire can only be built on Sourcewell unless you have an ability that says otherwise. So at the beginning of the game, we start putting landmark on them. The landmark could be swamp, it could be ruin, or it could be temples. Now let's look at the landmark. Landmark could be minion, so just like any other minion, it will have health stat, attack stat, movement stat. It may also have some talents. Landmarks won't move. There's some ability in the game that let you take control of the landmark. That's the only reason they have the movement stat. Otherwise, the landmark won't move. Here you can see the reward that is granted to you if you defeat them. It could be source, like any other minion. It could be a relic. I'm going to talk about relic later. And it could be a spire. The spire means if you defeat this one, you immediately get to build one of your spire on the Sourcewell that it was defeated for free. Landmark could also be different than minion, which you can see here. They just have some effect in the game. This is not something that you can attack during the game. So you shuffle all of your landmarks separately. And you start putting them on the Sourcewell. In a competitive game, all of these Sourcewell get landmark. In solo or co-op is a little different. I'm going to talk about it in a second. As a general rule, the Sourcewell closest to each fortress gate get a swamp landmark. The rest you randomize. Which means in this case, this would get a swamp because it's closest to this fortress gate. This gets a swamp because it's closest to this fortress gate. The rest of them get randomized. If there is a tie, for example, let's say the Sourcewell wasn't here, it was here. In that case, both of them are 2 away from the fortress gate. In that case, the owner of this fortress get to decide which one is the swamp. So the owner decides if this one should be swamp or this one, then you put it that way and the rest gets randomized. In the case of solo or co-op, it is possible that some Sourcewell start with something on them already. So you check your play area again that the scenario gives you. For example, in this particular scenario, you can see that on this hex C, we start with a vital. It starts with a attack and 2 range. And on these 2 hex Ds, we start with shrubberies with 2 fortification. On hex B, we have thorax with 5 health. And on hex A, we have Ash with 3 health. Hex A is not a Sourcewell anyway, but we have to put Ash there before the game begins. So let's look back here. We need to construct this spiral. So we will have 1 vital and 2 shrubbery. The vital, as the scenario tells us, comes with 1 attack, 2 range upgrade. I'm going to talk about it later what they mean. You put them in the order that the scenario tells you. So it will be attack on top and 2 range on the bottom. The order of them matter. I'm going to talk about it later. And we construct the shrubbery on the hex that it tells us. Here we can see that the starting upgrade for Retail would have been 1 attack and 1 range. But when the scenario tells you to go with something, you take the scenario, even if it breaks the rules. So even if it was going over its capacity, even if it was 4 upgrade, you always take what the scenario is telling you. So in this case, we are building a Retail with 1 attack and 2 range. We also have 2 shrubberies with 2 fortification. Again, the starting would have been 1 attack, 1 fortification, but the scenario is telling us it will be 2 fortification. You can also here see the talents. We have air defense for the Retail. We have camouflage and cover for shrubberies. So we put the Retail on hex C. So here we put the shrubbery here and here. When you're checking the talent as a player, you check your reference sheet as I talked before. For example, for Retail, you would have been seeing this reference sheet for the air defense and for shrubbery the same. But when you're checking the talent for AI, this solo and co-op scenario book comes with a list of the AI talents. When you're checking the talent for them, you check this list. It may differ from the talents that is used by the player. For example, in this case, if you want to check the air defense for AI, we don't check it on player's reference sheet, we check it here. So air defense, what does it say? This unit or Aspire can attack unit with flying. Aspire will prioritize attacking flying unit if there are multiple possible targets of the same priority level. So flying is one of the talents that some unit may have. Only the unit with air defense and flying can attack them. So that's the ability that this Aspire has. In the case of shrubbery, we can see camouflage and cover. So let's look at each of them. Camouflage. Unit as Aspire must be adjacent to this unit or Aspire in order to attack it. I'm going to talk about it in a second. What does that mean? And we have cover. What does it say when a taproot is adjacent to this Aspire? The damage dealt by an attack on the taproot is reduced to 1. What does all of that mean? Air defense I already talked about. Let's talk about camouflage first. In order to attack, you need to be adjacent to a spire or a unit. But some units have a range. They can attack something from the range, so from 1 or 2 away. If that spire or unit has camouflage, even if you have range, you can't attack it from the range. So you have to be adjacent to it. And cover, Growth Tender has a unit called Taproot. If Taproot is adjacent to any of these spire, the damage that is dealt to Taproot is reduced to 1. We also need to put the Thorax there. Thorax is one of the swamp minions. Again, you usually shuffle these and put them, but in this case, the scenario is telling us Thorax is coming in the game with 5 health. So the Thorax goes to hex B with the health that the scenario tells us. Whenever a unit is entering the game, you immediately give it its health and put it in the position they should be. In this case, the scenario is telling us 5 health. Thorax would have had 5 health anyway. But if there is a difference, you always go with scenario. If scenario tells us 7 health, you ignore the 5 here. You go with 7 health that the scenario tells you. You always follow the scenario. The scenario also tells us that Ash starts with 3 health here. Ash is one of our heroes. You usually have to deploy your hero. In this particular source, the scenario is telling us that Ash is starting. The rest of them, we need to randomize them. Again, we have Swamp, Ruin, and Temple. The closest to each fortress is going to be Swamp, so I'm rolling. I have 5 Swampland left. I'm rolling a d6. 1, so this one goes here. Now I'm rolling for this one here. I'm rolling a d4. 2, so this one goes here. The rest of them you randomize between all of them. You can randomize however you want. I usually still roll a dice, so there are 3 left here. 6, so 9, 6 more, 15. I'm rolling a d20, I'm rolling for here first. 15, so the last one here. 14 left, I'm rolling a d20 again. 8, so 3 and 8. And that's all of it. So the rest of them you don't need, you just put them back. One landmark I didn't talk about is this ancient rites here. This is not in the game until the specific effect tells you to put them in the game. Even in a competitive game, you don't randomize between this one. So this is not in the game until an effect tells you to put them. Then you have these range, attack, fortification upgrade. You put them somewhere within your reach. You have this health chip. Again, you put them somewhere within your reach. And you have the relics. So relic, you can get them as the reward for defeating some of the landmark. In a competitive game, all of them are in the game. You just shuffle them and make a stack of cards. In solo game, you can see this sign here. You can see this sign of this bird. In solo game, only these are in the game. So this is out of the game. The rest you shuffle. And keep them somewhere within your reach. Whenever something is giving you relic as your reward, you draw one relic. You can keep it and use it for whatever effect it says here, or you can give it up for 4 souls. You also have these attack die that are for the Spire. Again, you keep them somewhere within your reach. And you have these checks that you use to show the upgrade that you got. There are some events in the game. In the case of competitive game, you have this deck of event card. You shuffle them, put them somewhere within your reach. At the beginning of each wave, you draw one of them, you resolve them. In a solo or co-op, each scenario has its own event that follow the die roll. So you don't need them in solo or co-op, but in competitive game, you need to keep them. Last thing you need to set up is setting up the market. So the market consists of these Earth Escape that you can buy for 2 souls and these chips that I'm going to talk about in a second. So you shuffle all of these Earth Escape. So in a competitive game, you don't start with Earth Escape in your play area, which means all of them will be here. But in solo or co-op, whatever is left goes to the market. And you have these chips. These market chips could be hero, could be minion, could be spire, or could be equipment. Here you can see the source that you have to pay to buy that thing. Here you can see the source that is granted to your opponent if they defeat it. Hero, minion, and Spire work the same as the others, so I'm not going to talk about all of them again. Here we have the equipment. You can buy the equipment from market, and you can give up to 1 equipment to a hero during the prep phase. That hero gains the ability that is written here. So if you get this, that hero gets the ability flying. If you get this, the hero gets the ability back to the future. So now you need to shuffle all of these chips. And that's your market. I'm going to talk about market in a second. You also have this reference sheet that explains the landmark and market talents. Again, you keep them somewhere within your reach. You're going to need them later. All right, let me sort these a little. I'm going to put this off camera for now. And that's your setup. Now we can go to the scenario. You check the scenario. Some scenario may have some carryover. You check if this applies to you or not. In this case, the scenario is telling us if you have played the scenario before and achieved less than 3 renown, start the scenario with a stronghold 2 gate dispatcher and a stronghold 3 gate spiked fortress advancement at cost. This is our first time playing, so I'm not starting with this one. There could also be a randomized setup, as you can see here. So what does it tell us? Roll a d6, 1 to 3, no change to setup, 4 to 6, add 5 health to thorax, and remove the bottom upgrade from 2 growth tender spire of your choice. So we roll a d6. It's a 2, so there would be no change in the setup. If I rolled 4, 5, or 6, it means I would have added 5 health to the thorax here. And I could have removed 2 upgrades from 2 different spires, which means, for example, I would have removed 1 upgrade from here, 1 upgrade from here, and that would have been the difference. But I rolled the 2, so none of them matters. This goes back to 5 health. And they all have their own upgrade. So first thing you check in the scenario are your objectives. For each objective that you get 1 renown. It's that mark that you see there. And you need to achieve at least one of your objectives, and you need to avoid all loss conditions for the scenario to be successful. What are objectives? Use an architect to construct a dispatch platform to spire on hex B. The second objective is defeat both shrubbery spire on D hexes. And the last one, have 5 or more fortress gate health at the end of wave 3. So what does all of that mean? We need to construct the spire here on hex B using our architect. I'm going to talk about it later, it will make more sense. We need to defeat both of these. And we need to have more than 5 health here. More than 5 or 5 or more? 5 or more. So at least 5 health when the wave 3 ends. Loss, Ash is defeated. So if your fortress gets defeated, that's always a loss. So we lose this scenario. If our fortress is defeated, which means the fortress gate health goes to 0. In this scenario, we have additional loss condition. If Ash is defeated, we also lose. Then we check the scenario rules. Ash is the only hero the Browner may deploy, so we are not allowed to deploy any of our other hero. Also, we can't deploy any hero that we get from market. AR rule none. Mobs. For Browner is Grove Tender Fortress Gate. For Grove Tender is Browner Fortress Gate. For Diving is one of Grove Tender's heroes. Closest opposing hero. Then Brown and Fortress Gate. So if the closing opposing hero is not in the game, it will become Brown and Fortress Gate. So the mark for Grove Tender is all Fortress Gate. I'm just going to put it here. The mark for us is Grove Tender Fortress Gate. And Diving is Grove Tender's hero. As I said, for Diving, it's our hero, which in this game we only have Ash. In competitive game, at the beginning of each wave, you choose the mark. Your mark in a competitive game can only be your opponent's Fortress Gate. In a two-player game, of course, it's the only opponent that you have. In multiplayer game, you have to choose it each time. In a solo co-op, the scenario may give you different marks. In this case, it's still Fortress Gate, but it could differ, so you need to check it. And we have the event results there. So you roll a d6, 1 to 2, 1 damage is dealt to Brown and Fortress Gate, 3 to 4, the Brown and lose 2 swords, 5 to 6, add fortification to the bottom of all Vital Spire. And that's it. Now we can go to the game. So the game has multiple waves, and each wave has multiple phases. In a case of a competitive game, you always have 4 waves. If one player wins before the end of wave 4, the game is over. If nobody wins at the end of wave 4, the game is over anyway, and you check your strengths. I'm going to talk about strengths later. In solo or co-op, each scenario tells you how many waves you have. In this case, we can see we have 3 waves. You can also see here name of a faction. This is the faction that goes first in each wave. So which means in wave 1, Grove Tenders are first, in wave 2, Brownen, so we are first, and in wave 3, Grove Tenders are first again. So we go to each phase one by one. Event phase, no event, so we don't have to worry about that. Income phase, 0 source. So if you're playing competitive, it's always the same. You can see it here at the last page of your rulebook. The first wave you get 5 source, wave 2 you get 7 source, wave 3 9, and wave 4 11. In the case of solo or co-op, you go with what scenario tells you. Which means in this wave, we are getting no source. So whenever you get a source, you just turn this dial to show that how much source you got. In this case, we are getting no source, so it doesn't matter. We go to the market phase. Grove Tenders purchase an Earth Escape, but don't place it. So at the beginning of each market phase, you flip the top Earth Escape face up, and you flip market chip equal to the number of player plus 1. So in the case of solo or 2 player, it will be 3. In the case of 3 player, it will be 4, and in the case of 4 player, it will be 5. So we have these 3 market chips. So during market phase, in turn order, each player can make up to 1 purchase. So the purchase could be one of these chips, where the cost is shown here, or it could be Earth Escape, which can be used to modify the player yard, and Earth Escape always costs 2. So you can make up to 1 purchase in turn order. If someone buys a chip, it immediately gets replaced by a new chip, and the next player can take its turn. If somebody buys an Earth Escape, it still gets replaced, but no other player can buy Earth Escape that turn. So only 1 Earth Escape per turn can be purchased. So the scenario is telling us that Grove Tenders are buying the Earth Escape but not place it. So whenever you buy Earth Escape, you keep it here. You can place it in build phase. I'm going to talk about that later. So this one immediately gets flipped, but nobody can buy it. Now it's our turn to buy something. We have 0 source. We can't buy anything anyway, so it doesn't matter. You have noticed the Grove Tender also have 0 source, but they did manage to buy this. In the case of AI, you always assume they have unlimited source. So they don't pay anything when they buy or build something, and they don't gain any resource when they defeat any unit. So we go to build phase. Grove Tender construct a retail spire, 1 attack, 1 fortification on a fortress source. I'm going to build what they're building and talk about building in a second. So they're building a retail with 1 attack, 1 fortification. We put it in order. And it's telling us they're building it on a fortress source well. So it will be either this or this. Whenever it doesn't specify, you get to choose. Let's say I'm choosing it to put here. That's their build option. During build phase, you go in turn order and either build a spire or upgrade the spire or get fortress upgrade. You can do as many build options as you want. You have to do them in turn order, so one player does it, then the other player, then back to that player. Until all player passes, you can keep building. Let's talk about each of them. Let's talk about fortress upgrade first. For fortress upgrade, you can see you have different kind of upgrades. They have different level, and you can see the source cost next to each of them. So whenever you want to get the fortress upgrade, you pay the source indicated there. Then you get one of those pays, put them in your fortress to show you have that upgrade. Let's say, for example, I want to upgrade my assembly. First of all, you have to do them in order. I can't go directly, for example, to the second level of assembly. No. I have to build the first one. So first I pay 5 souls, get the first one. Then I can pay 4 souls, get the second one. So let's say I did have souls and I wanted to get my assembly. So I spent 5 souls. I get one of these, put them in the first level of my assembly. And from now on, I have the benefit that is shown here. But I don't have any souls, so I can't buy that anyway. So we put this back. Other thing you can do is build a spire. So whenever you build a spire, you pay the source cost shown on the spire, and you build it on a source file that is free over which you have influence. So what does it mean? Let's say I have enough source to build this dispatch platform. So it comes with an attack and a range. I can put them in any order I want. Again, I'm going to talk about later why the order matters. You always have influence over your fortress source file. So I can simply build it here. You have also influence over a hex group that is touching your fortress gate, which means if any of them were free, if any of these source files were free, I would have had influence over them because this hex group and this hex group is touching my fortress gate. Once you start building a spire, you also have influence over the hex group on which you have a spire and over the hex group that is touching a hex group over which you have a spire. What does all of that mean? Which means if I have a spire here, I have influence over here, here, and here because this hex group is touching this hex group on which I have a spire. Let's say I clear this up and I build a spire here. Then I have influence over here, here, and here, and so on and so forth. Other thing you can do during build phase is upgrade an spire. To upgrade an spire, first of all, your spire should have the capacity for that upgrade. For example, my dispatch platform, you can see 3 dots on it, which means it has capacity for up to 3 upgrade. At this moment, I only have 2, which means I can add 1 more upgrade to it. How much the upgrade costs, it depends on how many upgrades does it already have. So in this case, it has 2 upgrades already. If I'm adding another upgrade, it will be the 3rd upgrade, so it will cost me 3. Let's say it was an spire that has capacity for 4. If I'm adding the 4th, it will cost me 4. Except for fortification. Fortification always costs 2. So again, during your build phase, you can upgrade your fortress, you can build a spire, or you can upgrade a spire. One last thing you can do, if you have bought a Earth Escape, you are allowed to place that Earth Escape during the build phase. If you do it, you immediately get to build on it. What does that mean? As I said, you would keep taking turn during your build phase. If you put it like this doesn't count as your turn. You still can build a spire on it immediately. That is put there so that you don't put the Earth Escape there and your opponent builds on it and in there. So what are the rules for putting an Earth Escape? You can put the Earth Escape on the map to modify the map, or you can put the Earth Escape to extend the play area. Let's talk about modifying first. When you're placing an Earth Escape to modify a place, you should have influence at least over one of the hex group that this Earth Escape is going to cover. For example, let's say I have a spire here, which means I have influence over here and here. So if I want to, I can place this hex group here because I have influence over here. At least one of these is over one of the hex group over which I have influence. The other rule for that, it has to stay level, which means I can't put it like this, that this side is higher than this side. It has to stay level. And the last thing, you can't put it in a way that cut the path hex between 2 marks. What does that mean? This is one of the marks, this is one of the marks. And you can see a path hex connecting these two. So I can't put this like this, because if I put it here, it's cutting the path hex between these two marks. I can't put it like this. I make it harder, I make the path hex longer, but there still is a path hex. So you can modify the path, but you can't cut it completely. I can't put it like this. If you're extending play area, the hex group that you are laying has to be touching a hex group over which you have a spire. Which means if I have a spire here, I can place it here, but I can't place it here because I don't have any spire over this. What does that give you? It gives you the ability, since you have a spire here, if you place it here, you will immediately have influence here. So after you place it, you should immediately have influence over it. So it has to touch a spire, it has to touch a hex group on which you have a spire. Alright, we go to the prep phase. Telling us player get 5 CP and growth tenders are deploying Taproot, Treat, and Diving. You can see the star next to Treat. It means Treat will be deployed promoted. I told you that the minions and hero are always deployed on the normal side, but again, for AI, you always follow what the scenario is telling you. So if the scenario is telling you that Treat is going to be deployed promoted, you are going to make it deployed promoted. You always follow what the scenario tells you. In the case of competitive game, you can see here in wave 1, each player gets 5 CP, wave 2 7, wave 3 9, and wave 4 11. But in solo or co-op, again, it may differ. You follow whatever scenario tells you. So the scenario is telling us they're deploying Diving, they're deploying Taproot, and they're deploying a Treat. Again, we gave them the health. So in this case 2, in this case 3, and the Treat is promoted, so it will be deployed on this side, which means it's going to start with 5 health. And you put them in order that the scenario is telling you. So here you can see it's Taproot on top, then Treat, then Diving, and it also tells you Summon, Warbriar. I'm going to talk about Summon in a second. So let's look at their talent first. For Diving, we have air defense that we've seen before. We have 2 range. For Taproot, we have air defense, 2 range, and summon. And for Treat, we have ram and tough. Diving can walk into forest, so does Taproot, so does Treat, and Taproot can only walk on path. So we put them in order that the scenario is telling us. And the unit always deploy from the fortress gate. So we put them on the fortress gate. Let's look at their talents, their AI. So we check the AI talent list, not the faction reference sheet. We have number range. This unit attacks and retaliates from up to number hexes away. So usually you have to be adjacent to attack and retaliate. With the range, you can attack from that many hexes away. So in the case of Diving and Taproot, they both have 2 range, which means they can attack from up to 2 hexes away. Also retaliate from up to 2 hexes away. For Treat, we have Ram. When this unit attacks a Spire with an attack upgrade, instead of dealing damage, it removes the topmost attack upgrade from the Spire. That will make more sense as I explain how attacking a Spire works, but just to give some context, whenever you attack a Spire, the bottom upgrade comes up. That's why the order of them matters, so you can protect your attack by putting it higher. The unit with Ram can take the highest attack upgrade out with this talent. For Treat, we also have Tough. If retaliation damage dealt to this unit exceed 2, reduce it to 2. So if it attacks and gets retaliated and the damage from retaliation is more than 2, you only deal 2 damage. And we have Summon for the Taproot. After this unit is reduced to exactly 1 health, summon the unit stated in the prep phase section for this wave. If the unit to be summoned is unavailable, summon the next available unit in the list. So, the list would be Grizzled Oak, Ogre Growth, Tweed, Wineherald, Warbriar. The unit is summoned on the promoted side. Flip the taproot and group it under the summon unit in the same hex. The summon unit does not move this turn. So summon is how Growth Tender promote their unit. As a player, you have to pay resource to summon your unit. But for AI, whenever taproot is reduced to exactly 1 health, it summons. So this is something that you need to plan around. Try to defeat taproot without bringing it down to 1 health. So defeat it immediately from 3 or 2 health that it has. That's what Growth Tenders are deploying. We have 5 CP. We can choose to spend it however we want. I'm just going to keep it simple for the first wave. I'm deploying a Battleborn and a Dispatch. So Battleborn will cost me 2 CP, Dispatch will cost me 3 CP. So together there are 5 CP that I have. If you want to, you can go lower. For example, instead of deploying these 2, I could deploy 1 Aegis with 4 CP. But if I do, the CP that I didn't use is lost. The extra CP doesn't carry over from wave to wave. So when I'm deploying them, I can deploy them as 2 separate units. So this will come with 3 health, this come with 3 health, and I can put them in any order I want. So for example, I can go Battleborn on top, or I can go Dispatch on top, or I can group them. When you group them, 1 unit is grouped under the other unit. That unit is inactive until the unit on top is defeated. So whenever you are deploying them, you deploy them like this. The wave goes on until this one is defeated. When this one is defeated, this one is revealed. You immediately give it its health, and it takes its turn from there. Which means if this one moved before getting defeated, this one doesn't move. If this one has already attacked, this one won't attack, and so on and so forth. Some points. The unit, if the movement stat is different, the unit with the higher movement stat has to be at the bottom. What does it mean? Let me get a unit with different movement stat. Let's say I had a promoted Aegis that I wanted to deploy. It has 1 movement. I can't group them like this with the unit with higher movement on top. The unit with lower movement has to be on top if I want to group them. The other thing about grouping them, if the damage that defeats this one exceeds its health, the damage doesn't carry over to the other one. Let's say this one only has 1 health, like this, and it gets, for example, 3 damage. So 1 damage will defeat it. The rest does not carry over to the other one. The other one comes in with the full health. The other thing, whenever a unit gets attacked, if they don't get defeated, they retaliate. I'm going to talk about that more later. If a unit on top gets defeated because of the attack, the one that is revealed doesn't retaliate on its behalf. So this is what I'm deploying. I'm not grouping them. So this goes back here, I'm not deploying them. I'm not grouping them, I'm deploying 2 separate units. In a competitive game, the unit that you are deploying is open information. Your opponent is allowed to know what you are deploying, but you can keep the order in secret. For example, let's say I'm playing competitive, which means the Osh wouldn't have been in the game, and I'm deploying it. So I can put it like this. My opponent can look at it and see that Osh is on top and 2 other minions, which he knows are Battleborn and Dispatch, but he doesn't know if this one is Battleborn or this one. So you can keep the order secret if you want to. The other thing, if you are deploying hero, the hero should go on top or on bottom. You can't put the hero in the middle. You can go minion, hero, and then minion again. One thing about deploying hero, faction have 3 different heroes. You can see one of them has 0 CP, the other one costs different. The one with 0 CP is your starting hero. In wave 1, you are only allowed to deploy your starting hero. Brownen has a special rule that allows them to deploy something else if they want to, but as a general rule for all faction, you are only allowed to deploy your starting hero in wave 1. Also, as I said, in the first wave, you can only deploy your starting hero, which means in wave 1, you can have only 1 hero in the game. Starting from wave 2, you can have up to 2 hero in the game. So you can never have more than 2 hero in the game in any other wave. So wave 1, you will be limited to 1 hero, and starting from wave 2, you can have maximum 2 hero in the game. Alright, that's our prep phase. Now we can go to onslaught phase. Before I do that, let me talk about this Thorax as well. As I said, Thorax has 5 health. It grants you 5 sources if you defeat it, and has the ability Toxic Secretion. So we check our landmark and market talents, and we see Toxic Secretion. If a non-Greed unit move onto a hex adjacent to this unit, deal it 1 damage. Greed is one of the factions, so any unit from any other faction, if they move adjacent to this one, they get 1 damage. And to onslaught phase. In onslaught phase, unit deploy from their fortress and move toward the mark, they explore, attack, retaliates, and so on. Let's talk about movement first before we continue. The first thing about movement is deployment. The units that are here are considered inactive, which means their talent, if they have any talent, is also inactive. The unit has to deploy at the first opportunity. So it is possible that, for example, all of these are blocked and the next unit cannot deploy. In that case, it stays there until the next turn it can deploy. But if it can deploy, it has to deploy at the first opportunity. How does movement work? Let me talk about heroes first, which are much more simple than I talk about minion. So for hero, you have complete control. You can move toward your mark, you can move backward, you can just stay there and not move. You can move your full movement, you can just move part of it, and so on and so forth. You can even move back to your fortress. So this fortress gate for moving here, for any unit, this is a impassable terrain. So no unit can move back here, except for the hero that belongs to that faction. So this is a Brownen fortress. Only a Brownen hero can move here. For any other unit, this is an impassable terrain. Whenever the hero moves back to fortress, it stays there for the whole wave. It heals to full, and it keeps all of these upgrades that it may gather during the game. At the next wave, or any future wave, you can deploy it at 0 CP cost. For Arch, it would be 0 anyway, but if you had a hero that costs, for example, like 7 or something, if it comes back to fortress, you can deploy it for free. Let's talk about minion. I'm going to talk about players minion first, then I'm going to talk about AI. For minion, movement work differently. For minion, you have to use your full movement, and you have to make progress. So, what does it mean? For checking the progress, let's say this Battleborn is here. You check how far it is from its mark. At the end of its movement, it has to be closer to its mark than its start. How do you check how far it is? You only count through the hexes it's allowed to move through. You count through units, but you don't count through landmark and spires. So let's say the Battleborn is here. the brown mark is here, this fortress gate. So at the beginning of its movement, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 away from the fortress gate. Its movement stat is 2. So I can move it 1, 2. I use its full movement and I'm closer to the mark. Or I could move it 1, 2. I'm closer to my mark again and I use my full movement. But I'm not allowed to move it 1, 2. I use my full movement, but I'm not closer to my mark than I started. I'm still 8 away. So again, you have to use your full movement and you have to make progress, but you don't have to make max progress. It's your choice how much you're making progress. If you can't use your full movement, you use as much movement as you can as long as you're making progress. So let's say the situation is like this. So Battlebone can only move 1 and it's still making progress, so you just take that. You move it 1, you don't make the full movement. And since it's blocked, it can't move 2, so that's it. That's the whole movement of the battle. If with your full movement you are not making progress, you reduce your movement and check again if you can make progress. Let's say Battlebone is here, Taproot is here. If I use my full movement, I will go 1, 2. I'm not closer to my mark than I start. If I don't use my full movement, I move only 1. In that case, I am closer to mark than I started. So in that case, you only move it 1. So you always try to make progress if possible. If progress is not possible, let's say this is my situation. If progress is not possible, you're allowed to make a lateral move. Lateral move means by the end of your turn, you are the same distance to your mark as you started. So let's say this is the situation. I'm allowed to move the Battlebone here. I move it once. It's the same distance as it started from its mark. And the progress was not possible. Lateral move, as I said, is optional though. You don't have to do it. I can just stay here and not move, or I can just move from here and here and make a lateral. One last thing about moving unit. You can't step to the same hex you were during that movement. Let's say I have a promoted architect in the game. Its move stat is 3. I cannot say I'm moving it 1, 2, 3. I use my full movement stat, I make progress, but during my movement I step in this hex twice. That is not allowed. During your movement you are not allowed to go back to the hex that you were. Another thing about movement is friendly heroes won't block the minion. What does it mean? Let's say this is the situation. We have the Ash here, the Battlebone is here. Ash cannot block the Battlebone. If Battlebone needs to displace Ash to make progress, it will displace the hero, which means it switches position with it, and moves further. So, friendly hero won't block the minion. If a friendly hero is blocking the minion displaces the hero and moves further. So opposing unit, which means opposing hero and opposing minion do block the minion. Friendly minion also block your minion, but friendly hero won't block your minion. If there is a hero in front, they displace it and go further. For AI is the same, except that AI will try to make as much progress as possible. What does it mean? Let's say we are with this tree, it can move through plain, forest, and path hexes, and it is here. If it was a player, the player can move it 1, 2, 3. Or it can move it 1, 2, 3. Or it can move it 1, 2, 3. In all cases, it used 3 movement and it made progress. In the first case, 1 progress. In the second case, 2 progress. In the third case, 3 progress. As a player, you can do any of that. But for AI, will always try to make the most progress. So it will move 1, 2, 3, or it will move 1, 2, 3. If it's a tie, you get to choose. So in both cases, it's moving 3 and it's making the most progress. The player get to choose where to move AI. So I can move it 1, 2, 3. I can move it 1, 2, 3. I can move it any way I want, as long as I'm trying to make the most progress and I'm using the full movement. If with full movement you are not making progress, you reduce the movement and try again to make progress. Let's say we are in this situation and 3 is here and the taproot is here. So if I want to move the 3, if I want to make the full movement of 3, it will go 1, 2, 3. It will end up further from its mark than its start. So I reduce its movement stat by 1, so it goes from 3 to 2 and try again. If I move it 2, it will move 1, 2. It will be the same distance from its mark and its start. Still no progress. So I reduce it again to 1 and try again. With 1, I move here and I did make progress. So you keep reducing the movement stat until you get a point that you are making progress. If progress is not possible, again, you are allowed to make a lateral movement with AI as well. It's your choice. So for example, let's say Battleborn is here, Taproot is here. I am allowed to make a lateral movement for Taproot. But again, it's a choice, you don't have to do it. One thing not to confuse here with the example that I made. If you reduce the movement stat, if with full movement stat, no progress is possible. So in this case, if I use the full movement stat, no progress was possible. Then I reduce it. If with the full movement stat, the progress is still possible, but is not the most optimal one, you still take the full movement stat. So full movement stat will always have a higher priority as long as you're making progress. So instead, if treat was here instead of here, if I use this full movement stat, it will move 1, 2, 3. It still make progress. With 2 movement, it would have made more progress. It would have been here. But you have to make the full movement. As long as with full movement there is any progress, you have to make the full movement. And I guess that's it for the movement. If something else comes up, I'm going to explain it later. One more thing before I start the game is this Forsaken die. Brownen already start with this Forsaken die. They don't have to upgrade to it. So they start with this Forsaken die in their honor pit. This gets rerolled when you deploy Forsaken. I'm going to keep it off for now. But just know that as a Brownen, you start with this die. It's important for deploying the Forsaken. I'm going to shift these a little. Put my dice tray here in case I need to roll some dice still. Alright, we go to Onslaught phase. Growth Tenders are first, and they have to deploy their unit. So Taproot can only move through paths. It will move 1, 2. Treat can move through forest, so it will be forest, plain, or path access, which means it moves this direction, 1, 2, 3. Toxic Secretion, it loses 1 health. Diving deploys as well. It can also move through forest, so it will move 1, 2. End of the movement, Aspire Fire. I don't have any Aspire in the game, so it doesn't matter. Then the units that can attack will attack. In the case of minion, you have to attack. In the case of hero, AI hero still attack as long as it can do any damage. AI minion has to attack. Even if there are situations that it can't do any damage, it still attacks. So, Taproot can't attack anybody. Treat can attack this Thorax. So it attacks it 2. This attack is always auto attack. You don't have to roll any die or anything. You don't have to resolve it. If it's written 2, it does 2 damage. When a unit gets attacked and is not defeated and it hasn't retaliated in that turn, it will retaliate. Its retaliation is its attack stat. For Thorax, there is no attack stat, so it doesn't retaliate, but any other unit would have retaliated. Diving is here, but it has 2 range. So it can attack and retaliate from up to 2 range away, which means it does have range on this one. It will attack this one. Does 1 damage. We go back to my turn. Battleborn moves 1, 2. Dispatch moves 1. It can't move further. With Ash, I don't have to move, but I will move. I'm moving 1. Toxic Secretion, I lose 1 health. One more thing about the movement, you move your hero before or after your minion. You can't move your hero in the middle of moving your minion, which means I couldn't move my Battleborn, then move Ash, then move Dispatch. I either move my hero, then move all of my minion, or I move my minion, then I move my hero. So now, Aspire Fire, none of these Aspire have range on me. Then I have the option of exploring. If you are next to a landmark, you can explore it. In which case, you look at it, you decide if you want to reveal it or not. In the case of AI, you saw that they came next to here. AI will never explore anything. Only the player will explore. In the case of player, I have an option of looking at this or at this, wherever my unit is next to, and decide if I want to reveal it or not. Some of them have some ability that force you to reveal them. In that case, you have to reveal them. But as a general rule, it's your choice if you want to reveal. I'm not going to look at either of them because if it's something that I have to reveal, my minions have to attack it. I don't want to deal with that right now. With Ash is a hero, I don't have to attack, but I have the option to attack, so I am going to attack. I just realized I forgot to mention Ash's talent. On its normal side, Ash has the ability Hunter. On the promoted side, if it gets promoted, it will gain the ability Survival. I'm going to talk about Survival later. What's Hunter? When attacking a landmark, this unit deals +1 damage. So with Ash, I'm attacking this Thorax. It is a landmark minion. Ash attack stat is 1, but because Thorax is a landmark minion, he does +1 damage. That's 2 damage. That's enough to defeat the Thorax. So when the last health of a unit comes up, the unit is defeated. I get source indicated here, so I get 5 source. I go from 0 to 5. And if a hero is responsible for defeating a unit or a spire, that hero may get an upgrade. Here you can see 1 dot in the case of Ash, that is the upgrade capacity of hero, which means I can give him up to 1 upgrade. The upgrade could be attack, fortification, or range. Range you can only give to heroes that already have range. For example, if you are controlling Divine with its range, you can give Divine 1 range. But in the case of Ash, since he doesn't have any range, I can't give him any more range. But I can give him 1 attack upgrade, which increases his attack stat, so his attack stat goes from 1 to 2. Or I can give him 1 fortification, which works just as extra health. I am going to give him an attack upgrade, so from now on, when you get them, you just put them under him to show that his attack upgrade is now +1. We go to Growth Tender. When you are deploying, you deploy them in the order that was there. After that, whenever you are moving the units, you always move the leading minion first. The leading minion is the minion closest to the march. So in this case, Treat is the leading minion. It will move 1, 2, 3. It can also move 1, 2, 3. In both cases, it's making 2 progress and it's moving full movement. So you can choose how to move them. I am moving it 1, 2, 3. Now I change my mind. I'm moving it 1, 2, 3. Now Taproot moves, it moves 1, 2. Dive in, its mark is Ash, and it already has range on Ash. Since it already has range on Ash and it's a hero, if it was a minion, it still would have moved. But since it's a hero, it doesn't need to move toward Ash, it stays where it is. Now Spire fires, again I don't have any Spire. We go to attack. Diving has range on Ash, it will attack Ash, so it will attack Ash 1. Ash doesn't have range, so it can't retaliate in range. So that's it. Treat will attack the Battleborn for 2. Battleborn is not defeated, so it retaliates. Its attack stat is 1, so it retaliates for 1. And that's it. We go back to my turn. During Onslaught phase, you have 2 limited build options. The limited build option can be used to build or upgrade spires. Whenever you use your limited build option, you get one of these back, put them here to show that you use them. There are 2 here. As I said, you have up to 2 limited build options. You can build or upgrade the spire in that. I am using one of my limited build option, and I'm constructing a dispatch platform on one of my source files. So dispatch platform costs 4. So I go from 5 to 1. It comes in the game with an attack and a range. I put them in any order I want. I'm putting range on bottom, attack on top, and I'm building it on this fortress source. So as I said, dispatch platform comes with 1 attack upgrade, 1 range upgrade. It has cost me 4 sources, and it will grant the enemy 3 sources if they defeat. It also has the ability Splash. So here you can see Splash. When this Spire attack, it may also deal 1 damage to all adjacent unit to its target. I can choose not to use a Splash, but if I use it, it has to be all adjacent unit. I can't just use it to say to deal damage to opponent's enemy, but not my own. Alright, I used my limited build option. Now we go to my movement. This one is blocked, it can't move. This one is blocked, it can't move. With Ash, I'm moving here. Spire fire, no Spire has range on me, and that's it. By the way, now that I talked about range of a Spire, what is the range of a Spire? A Spire all have an inherent range of 1. Let's say there is a dispatch platform here with only 1 attack. This dispatch platform can attack anything adjacent to it. It has an inherent range of 1. If it gets any range upgrade, for each range upgrade that it gets, its range increases by 1. So a dispatch platform with 1 attack and 1 range can attack up to 2 hexes away, and so on and so forth. So, as I said, no Spire has a range on me, so we start to attack. With Ash, I'm attacking Diving. My attack is 1 plus 1 attack upgrade that I have. I do 2 damage. Diving is defeated. Since it's defeated, she can't retaliate. So I get 2 sources. I go from 1 to 3. With Ash now, I defeated something, but I'm at my upgrade capacity. Since I'm at my upgrade capacity, I have the option of promoting him. So when you promote him, you flip it to the other side. Any upgrade that you have is lost, so that's why it's optional. You don't have to do it, because if you do it, you lose all of these upgrades. I am going to do this, so which means I'm losing this attack upgrade, and Ash is now promoted. On his promoted side, if there is a difference between healths, you gain that difference. So for example, in this case. And normal side it was 3, and promoted side is also 3. But if it was 4, you immediately give it 1 health. Its attack stat is now 2. Its movement stat remains 2, it doesn't change. It can still move through forest. It still has hunter. And now he has the ability survival. You can see the survival here. At the end of your turn, if this unit did not move or attack, it recovers 1 health. Now, Battleborn attacks Treat. It attacks Treat 1. Treat retaliates for 2. It defeats the Battleborn. Again, the AI doesn't gain any source for defeating anything because they have unlimited source. My Dispatch can attack from range, so it's attacking Treat for 1. And Treat has already retaliated, so it can't retaliate again. Again, a unit retaliates only once. Even if it could, since Dispatch is attacking from range and Treat doesn't have a range, it can't retaliate. So for retaliate, it couldn't retaliate first because he's attacking from range and he doesn't have range. Also, it retaliates once before, so each unit retaliates only once per turn. We go to Growth Tender's turn. Treat is the leading minion. It moves 1. It's blocked, it can't move further. Taproot moves 1, 2. My Aspire this time has a range on Treat, so 1, 2, it does have range on Treat. For Aspire, it's not an auto attack, you have to roll the die. It's has 6 sides, 4 sides of it is 1, 1 side of it is 2 damage, and 1 side of it is 0. So you are still most likely to do 1 damage for each attack, but it's not certain. You roll as many attack die as your Spire has attack upgrade. So my Spire has only 1 attack upgrade, so I'm rolling 1 attack die, 1 damage. That's enough to defeat the Treat. And that's it. So I get 2 souls. I go from 3 to 5. And the Treat goes back to its barrack. So when a hero is defeated, it's out of the game. You can't deploy it again. When a minion is defeated, it goes back to its barrack. It can be deployed again in a future turn if you pay the cost, the CP cost. We go back to my turn. Dispatch is moving 1, 2. With Ash, I'm moving back 1. The Spire Fire, no Spire has range on me, and that's it. We go to Growth Tender's turn. So Taproot moves 1, 2. Spire Fire, no Spire in range. It does have range on Dispatch, but it doesn't have range on Ash, so it will attack Dispatch. But let's say I didn't move Ash back. Let's say Ash was here. Then it would have a range on both of them. In this case, when a unit has multiple targets, you check the AI attack priority and see which one gets attack. You can see that at the back of the solo or co-op scenario. Here you can see at the back of both your solo or co-op scenario, you can see the Spire attack priority, current player's hero it can defeat, current player's minion it can defeat, current player's hero it can damage, current player minion it can damage, and lastly, any control unit by the current player. For AI unit attack priority, first it's always opposing Fortress Gate, then opposing hero it can defeat, opposing Spire it can defeat, opposing faction minion it can defeat, opposing landmark minion it can defeat, Opposing hero it can damage, opposing spire it can damage, opposing faction minion it can damage, opposing landmark minion it can damage, and any opposing unit or spire. So for AI units, it's always Fortress Gate. Then priority will be something it can defeat. If there are multiple things it can defeat, it will prioritize hero, then spire, then faction minion, then landmark minion, then something it can damage in the same priority. And lastly, minion have to attack. So even if there is something they can't damage, they still attack. In this case, it doesn't matter because I did move Ash back here, so it's only Dispatch that is in the range. So Taproot attacks Dispatch from range. Dispatch has a range, so it also retaliates. So it attacks and retaliates from range, which means it does 1 damage back. We go back to my turn. With Dispatch, I'm moving 1, 2. With Ash, I'm moving 1, 2. I can choose the order which I'm attacking, which means I can choose to attack with Ash first, or I can choose to attack with Dispatch first. I'm choosing to attack with Ash first, so I do 2 damage. That's enough to defeat the Taproot. Taproot has never gone to 0. Taproot has never gone to exactly 1 health, so it doesn't summon. It's immediately defeated, it goes away. But before I put it away, let me show you what would have happened if I attacked with Dispatch first. If I did attack with Dispatch instead of Ash, Dispatch would have done 1 damage, so Taproot would have been reduced to exactly 1 health, which means it would have summoned. The scenario is telling us it would have summoned a Warbriar. So you get a Warbriar on its promoted side. You also put Taproot on a promoted side. You group the promoted Taproot under a promoted Warbriar. And the Warbriar comes in with its full health, which is 4, and takes its turn from that. That's how summon works. But as I said, I attacked with Ash first, so none of that happens. Taproot is defeated, so I get 2 souls. I go from 5 to 7. Taproot is defeated, it goes here. Now, Ash was responsible for defeating the unit. On his promoted side, it still has 1 upgrade capacity. I can give him 1 upgrade. I'm going to give him an attack upgrade. We go to Grove Tender's turn. Grove Tenders don't have any unit in the game. We go back to my turn. If your opponent doesn't have any unit in the game, so any hero or any minion, your hero goes to campfire mode. In campfire mode, the hero is inactive, so it can't move, it can't attack, it doesn't get attacked from other units, and it doesn't use its talent either. So the Grove Tender don't have any unit in the game, which means Ash needs to go to campfire mode. So I'm just gonna put this as a reminder here. In campfire mode, as I said, you can't use your talent either, so which means I can't use this survival either. So Dispatch moves 1, 2. Retard does have a range on him, so it's rolling 1 attack die against Dispatch. It does 1 damage. Now Dispatch has to attack. I'm thinking if I want to look at this one or not. Yeah, why not? I look at this. In a multiplayer game, you look at it as secret. You don't have to reveal it. You check it yourself. In here, I just reveal it, see if I want to reveal it or not. It's a gate port. It's not a minion or something. It gives them Rift Walk. I don't think I want to reveal it, so I keep it fixed. Now, Dispatch has to attack. The only thing it has a range on is this Shrubbery, but Shrubbery has camouflage. It can't be attacked from range, so it doesn't matter. We go to Grove Tender's turn. They don't have any unit. Back to my turn. Dispatch moves 1, 2. Vital attacks it. It does 1 damage. Dispatch is defeated. When there is no minion in the game from any faction, the wave ends. So that's the end of the wave. We go to the next wave. So Ash is not in campfire mode anymore. At the beginning of next wave, it starts from here. So I remove this. Next wave, I will have 2 limited build option again. And we go to wave 2. So wave 2, Brown and R first. Event phase, roll the event die. So we roll this d6. It's a 1. We check our scenario, what it means. It says 1 or 2 1 damage is dealt to Brown and Fortress Gate. So we get 1 damage. We go from 10 to 9. The income phase, 3 source. So we are getting 3 source. I go from 7 to 10. Market phase as normal. When it says as normal, it means you do the market phase as you usually do, and AI doesn't buy anything. I'm just going to remove this for now. At the beginning of the market phase, the top Earth Escape goes away. You flip the next one. All of these chips go away. And you put 3 new chips here. So we have the Anarchist. We have the Brick and Mortar. And we have the Blade Wall. I can make up to 1 purchase. What I'm planning to do this wave is going to cost me 9 source, so I can afford to buy Anarchist. Anarchist will only cost 1 source. So I guess I'm going to buy Anarchist. So I'm buying Anarchist. It has 3 health. Its attack stat is 3, its movement stat is 2, and it has the ability Anarchy. When I buy this, we immediately refresh it. And we have Staff of Anvils. So what's Anarchy? We check our market and landmark talent. So we can see Anarchy. Before this unit movement each turn, roll a d6 on 5 or 6, discard this unit. So now you see why it's so cheap, because every turn there is 1/3 chance of losing the unit just like that. Alright, I did purchase 1 item. I can make up to 1 purchase anyway, so I can't purchase anything else. Growth Tenders are not purchasing anything, so we go to build phase. So build phase, Growth Tender construct a Cloudspire, 1 attack, 1 fortification on a Fortress source. So I'm first, I can do my build option first, but since it's not affecting me, I'm just gonna do it right now before I forget. So Growth Tender building a Retail on one of the source world, Fortress source world. This one is already occupied, so they build it here. And that's it. Oh, by the way, I should have gone from 10 to 9, I forgot. I spent 1 source for Anarchist. Now I'm doing my build options. I'm planning to spend source on my assembly, so I have to buy the first one first if I want to go there, then I can purchase the second one. So I'm going to spend 5 source to get the first level of assembly, which is source shields. What does it give me? All Aegis minions are permanently promoted. I'm also going to spend 4 more source after that. Since I have the first level, I can get the second level. To get the second level of assembly, which is workshop quarters, all architect minions are permanently promoted. So, as I explained, I'm spending 5 source. I go from 9 to 4. I get the first level of my assembly. I get one of these, put the first level here. Then I'm going to spend 4 more source. I go from 4 to 0. For the second level of assembly, I'm putting it here. So Growth Tenders are not building anything else. I'm not building anything else. So we go to prep phase. So in prep phase, I'm getting 8 CP. Growth Tenders are deploying a promoted Treat, Warbriar, and Taproot. and the summon for Taproot is going to be Wineboard. Whenever you see units in bracket, which means they are grouped together, which means there will be a Taproot grouped under a Warbriar. So we have a promoted 3, we've seen it before. It has 5 health, 2 attack, 3 movement. It can move through forest. It has the ability Ram and Tough. We have a Warbriar with a Taproot grouped under it. So we just give the Warbriar it has. We've seen Taproot before. It has air defense, 2 range, and summon. Warbriar has 3 health, 1 attack, 2 movement, and it has the ability Impale. We only give the health for Warbriar. Whenever Taproot is revealed, then we reveal the Taproot and immediately give it the health. We put them in the order that the game is telling us, so Treat will be on top, Warbriar on bottom, and they go here. We've seen all of those abilities except for Impale, so we check the AI talents in solo co-op scenario to see what's Impale. Impale, at the end of this unit's movement, deal 1 damage to all adjacent opposing unit it was not adjacent to prior to moving. So I have 8 CP. I'm using 4 of it to deploy an Architect. I'm using 4 of it to deploy an Aegis. Both of them are promoted because of my Fortress upgrade. So Architect has 4 health, 2 attack, 3 movement. It has the ability Builder. Aegis has 3 health, 2 attack, 1 movement. It has the ability Armored and Assault. So I give them their health. I'm not grouping them. And I'm gonna put Aegis on top, Architect on bottom. So we check the reference sheet for their abilities. Architect first, Builder. Before or after this unit's movement, you may choose one of the following at no cost. Build a dispatch platform on an adjacent source spell, ignoring the influence restriction. Promote an adjacent dispatch platform to a siege tower, keeping existing upgrades. Add an upgrade to an adjacent spire, ignoring upgrade capacity. Then, if this unit is on its basic side, return it to your barrack. If it's promoted, flip it to its basic side. For Aegis, we have Armored. When this unit is attacked, reduce the damage by 1. And we have Assault. When this unit attacks a spire, remove the bottom upgrade before dealing damage. This Anarchist, I bought it in market. I can deploy it at no cost if I want to. I'm not going to. I think I'm keeping it for the next wave. So you can keep it there. You can deploy it whenever you want. I don't have to deploy it this wave. I can keep it, deploy it next wave. And that's what I'm doing. I'm first. Aegis moves 1. Architect is blocked, it can't deploy. With Ash, I think I have to get out of the way. Otherwise, this Treat will come here, attack me, and defeat me, and I lose. So, with Ash, I'm moving 1. Aspire Fire. This Aspire does have range on me, but it doesn't have any attack, so it can't attack me. Now, again, I can explode these. I'm not going to. With Ash, I have the option of attacking this shrubbery. I'm going to attack the shrubbery. Now, let's talk about how attacking Spire works. For attacking Spire, no matter how much damage you do, you take maximum 1 upgrade out. And that upgrade is always the bottom upgrade. That's why the order of them matter. So for taking out the range or attack, you need to do at least 1 damage. For taking out fortification, you need to do at least 2 damage. Which means, for example, if a unit like Battleborn was attacking this one, it can't do any damage to it because the bottom upgrade is a fortification and it's only doing 1 damage. So it does no damage to this spire. But if the bottom upgrade was an attack, it could take the damage. And again, no matter how much damage you are doing, you are taking maximum 1 upgrade out. Unless you have an ability that's another. For example, in the case of Aegis, we saw that it takes the bottom upgrade out before that attack. But that ability is breaking the rule by default. As a default, you are taking maximum one upgrade out, and that upgrade is the bottom upgrade. Again, for attack and range, if they are the bottom upgrade, you need to do at least 1 damage. For if the bottom upgrade is fortification, you need to do at least 2 damage. So with Ash, I'm attacking the shrubbery. I'm doing 3 damage. That's enough to take the fortification off. We go to Grove Thunderstorm. Treat is moving 1, 2, 3. Warbriar is moving 1, 2. Spire Fire, no Spire has a range, and that's it. We go back to Mitre. Aegis moves 1. Architect moves 1. It can't move further. With Ash, I'm not moving, I'm staying by. I think I will look at this one now. So I'm revealing it. It's the Source Peddler. I will reveal the Source Peddler. So again, I have the option not to reveal it, but I am going to reveal it. So it has 5 health, 2 attack, 2 movement, and it grants 6 source if you defeat it. Now I have to attack. With Ash, I have the option of attack. I don't have to. I am going to attack the shrubbery with Ash. When the last upgrade of this spire comes out, the spire is defeated. So this shrubbery is defeated. I get 1 source. I go from 0 to 1. Ash was responsible for defeating it, but with Ash I'm at my maximum capacity. I can't give him any more upgrade. So this shrubbery goes away. Now with this one I'm attacking, I can choose the order of my attack. I'm attacking with Architect first, so Architect does 2 damage. The Source Peddler does 2 damage back. Then Aegis attacks, does 2 damage. The Source Peddler has already retaliated distance, so it won't retaliate. We go to Grove Thunderstorm. Treat is the leading minion. I can move it 1, 2, 3, or I can move it 1, 2, 3. If I move it here, it's going to attack Ash, defeat me, so I'm going to move it that way. And Warbriar is moving 1, 2. Now Treat attacks. It attacks 2. Aegis is armored, so that damage is reduced to 1. Aegis is retaliating for 2. We go back to my turn. Ash is moving 1, 2. Aegis can't move and Architect can't move, so they stay where they are. With Ash, I have the option of attacking, so I'm going to attack Shrubbery. With these two, I have to attack as long as I have target. So I'm going to attack with Aegis first. I can choose to attack the Treat or to attack the Source Butler. I'm going to attack the Source Butler because if I attack the Treat, it retaliates. Armor is only going to reduce the damage from attack. It's not going to reduce any other damage. For example, the damage that comes from Impale or Retaliation or anything else is not going to be reduced. So if I attack the Treat is going to retaliate for 2, and that's going to defeat Aegis. So instead, I'm going to attack Source Butler. I do 2 damage. That's enough to defeat the Source Butler. I get 6 souls. I go from 1 to 7. With Architect, I don't have any target. I don't attack. We go back to Grove Thunderstorm. Treat can make progress. I have the option of moving him laterally. I am going to move him laterally. Warbriar moves 1, 2. And that's it. So, Treat attacks Aegis. Again, it does 2 damage. Armor to reduce it to 1. Aegis retaliates for 2. And Warbler doesn't have a target. Back to my turn. Aegis moves 1, Architects moves 1. With Ash I'm not moving. With Aegis I'm attacking the Thread. That's enough to defeat it. I get 2 souls, I go from 7 to 9, Thread goes back. Architect doesn't have a target. With Ash I'm attacking the Shrubbery. Last upgrade comes off. I get 1 soul, so I go from 9 to 10. So we achieved our first objective. Our first objective was defeat both the Shrubberies in the hexes. We go back to Grove Tender's. Warbler moves 1, 2. That's it. Aegis moves 1. With Architect, if I use my full movement, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. I make no progress. If I move 1, 2, still no progress. So I move 1, it's 1 progress. At the end of his turn, I'm using his builder ability to build a dispatch platform here. So I'm building a dispatch platform here for free. So we just start with 1 attack, 1 range. As you can see, I don't have influence here, but that builder ability breaks that rule. I don't have to have an influence to build a spire there. So with Architect, I moved here, end of his movement. I had the option of using his builder talent. I did use his builder talent to build a dispatch platform. Now I have to flip him from his promoted side to his normal side, and we have achieved our second objective as well. With Aegis, I have to attack the Warbler, so I attack the Warbler 2. The Warbler retaliates for 1 and defeats my Aegis. We go back to Grove Tender's turn. So Warbler moves 1, 2. It impales my Architect. So it does 1 damage to Architect. The dispatch platform does have range on the Warbler, so I'm rolling 1 attack die. It does 1 damage and defeats the Warbler. I can use the splash ability, I'm not going to. So I get 1 source. Warbler is defeated. The unit under it is revealed. We immediately give it its health. And the unit carry over from where the last unit stopped. Which means the Warbler moved but didn't attack, so Taproot is going to attack. It has 2 targets. It can't defeat Dispatch Platform, but it can defeat the Architect, so it will attack the Architect. And that's it. We go back to my turn. With Ash, I'm moving 1, 2. I'm attacking the Taproot. That's 3 damage. That's enough to defeat the Taproot. So Taproot is defeated. I go from 11 to 13. No faction has any more minion in the game. That's the end of the wave. We go to the next wave. So wave 3, Grove Tenders are first. Event phase, roll the event die. So we roll the d6. 5. Add fortification to bottom of all Cloudspire. So all of them get 1 fortification. Income phase, 3 souls. So we go from 13 to 16. Market phase, Grove Tender purchase an Earth Escape but don't place it. So we go to market again. These three get refreshed. This goes away, we get a new one. Go tender buy this and don't place it. Shuffle the rest of them and put one face up, but we can't buy them. I do like the Fashioner. I do like Bergeron too, but I can't deploy any hero, so that's useless. I do that. So I'm getting the Fashioner. It's going to cost me 3 souls. I go from 16 to 30. The Fashioner has 4 health, so we reveal the next one. Is Roar. Fashioner has 4 health, 1 attack, 3 movement. It costs 3 souls. It grants 3 souls if you defeat it, and it has the talent Improve. You can see Improve here. When this unit ends its movement adjacent to a friendly Aspire, you may have spent 2 souls to add any upgrade to that Aspire, ignoring the upgrade capacity. That's it. We go to build phase. Build phase as normal, which means I can just use my build phase normally and growth tenders are not building anything. So first thing I'm doing is spending 4 souls to upgrade the first level of my Stronghold. The first level, as you can see here, is the Forsaken Artillery. What does it give me? Gain the artillery die. After it is rolled, remove this die and this advancement, even if no unit or Aspire is impacted. Advancement 2 or 3 may still be used if this advancement is removed, but they cannot be purchased. So, what is artillery die? You can see these numbers on it. May be used at the start of your turn during the onslaught phase. Roll this die once and state if the result will be used as number range or number impact of this roll. Roll again and use the second roll for the other designation. You may select a unit or Aspire within number of range of your fortress gate and either deal number of impact in damage to it, if a unit, or remove number of impact in upgrade from the bottom of it if Aspire. So I get this die and this, so I have to spend 4 souls. I go from 13 to 9. I get the first level of Stronghold. It gives me this die. At the beginning of my turn, I can roll this and state if this will be my range or if this will be the impact. The range will be from my fortress gate. Then I roll it again, whatever I choose. The next roll would be the other one. Let's say I said 3 would be the range. Now I roll it again. It's 3 again. This will be the impact. The impact I can do either 3 damage to a unit in the range, or I can remove 3 upgrades from Aspire in the range. So that's the first thing I'm building. Now I'm thinking if I want to spend my source on more Aspires, or I want to get another fortress upgrade. I do like the idea of getting my smelter upgraded and getting my source siege upgraded. But then I will be completely out of source. So I don't think I'm getting the smelter. I think I'm just going to keep on to my source for now. And use them on more spires. So first thing I'm doing, I'm spending 3 souls. So I want to upgrade this spire. It has capacity for 1 more upgrade. I'm spending 3 souls. To put the third upgrade here, I'm putting it at the bottom. So I'll go from 9 to 6. I'm spending 4 more souls to build another dispatch platform. Now I have a spire here. I do have influence here. So I'm building another dispatch platform here. That's going to cost me 4 more souls. I go from 6 to 2. Alright, we go to the prep phase. So we are getting 12 CP growth, then they are deploying a promoted tree, promoted Wine Herald, Ogre Growth group with a taproot under it, a Grizzled Oak group with a taproot under it, and 2 promoted Warbriar, and if taproot summon, it's going to summon a tree. We have a promoted treat with a Wine Herald under it. The promoted treat we've seen before. It has a Ram, Top, 5 health, 2 attack, 3 movement. Wine Herald, it has air defense and 2 range. We've seen that before. It also has capture. It has 4 health, 1 attack, and 2 movement. So I'm going to talk about capture in a second. We have an Ogre Growth. It has 5 health, 2 attack, 2 movement. Its ability is rooted. Taproot we've seen before, so Taproot is grouped under the Ogre Growth. So we give Ogre Growth this health. We have a Grizzled Oak. It doesn't have any talent. It has 6 health, 2 attack, 1 movement. We take Taproot group under it, and we have 2 promoted Warbriar. They have 4 health, 2 attack, 2 movement, and they have Impale that we've seen. So again, we put them in the order that the scenario is telling us. And we put them here. Now I have 12 CP to spend. Before I do that, let me talk about the ability that we've seen on the AI. So we saw capture in the case of Wine Herald. After this unit defeats an opposing faction minion, place that minion beside this faction fortress. When the minions controlling faction damage this faction's fortress gate, return the minion to its barrack. This faction can have a maximum of 3 minions captured from each faction at a time. So I told you, whenever your minion is defeated, it goes back to your barrack, you can deploy it again. If a unit with capture defeated, they have the option of capture it and put it next to their fortress. And you don't have access to it until you damage the opponent's fortress and get that unit freed and be able to deploy it next. We also have rooted. If this unit is adjacent to a spire and can make an attack that deals damage without moving, it does not move this turn. It must move on the next turn in which it can make progress. So if that unit is next to a spire and it can damage it, it won't move that turn. It doesn't have to move. Next turn it will move. Alright, I have 12 CP to spend. I was planning to promote my Source Siege and deploy the Source Siege, but now that I didn't promote it, I don't think it makes sense to deploy them. So here's how I'm going to spend my CP. I'm deploying 2 Aegis and an Architect. I have already spent scores to promote them, so I think it makes sense to stay with these. So I'm grouping these Aegis together. I'm also grouping the Anarchists under it. That way, since it's grouped under something, its Anarchy is inactive, I don't have to roll it until it's become active, so I can keep that Anarchist in the game a little longer. I'm also deploying the Architect, and I'm deploying the Fashioner. So I'm going to go Aegis, Architect, and Fashion. Alright, back to Onslaught phase. Treat is moving 1, 2, 3. Ogre Growth is moving 1, 2. Grizzled Oak is moving 1. Warbriar is moving 2. This Warbriar can't deploy. Now Spirefire. So dispatch platform has range on the treat. It has 2 attack upgrade. It's rolling 2 attack die. Whoa, that was a lucky roll. I do 4 damage to the treat. And that's it. Now, treat attacks. As I said, usually when you're attacking the Spire, it takes the bottom upgrade up, but treat has the ability Ram. It always takes the highest attack upgrade. So in this case, it takes this upgrade out. And that's it. We go to my turn. With Aegis. Oh, this should be on this side. With Aegis, I'm moving one. These two can't deploy. With Ash, I can go attack this one, but the Vineyard will be revealed next round, will be attacking me. I think with Ash, I'm not doing anything, I'm just staying back. So, with Ash, I didn't move or attack. I can use his survival talent, heal one. We go to Growth Thunderstorm. So, Treat is the leading minion, it moves 1, 2, 3. Ogre Gross moves 1, 2. Grizzled Oak moves 1. Warbriar moves 1. Warbriar moves 1. Spire Fire. These Spire have a range on Treat, so I'm attacking with this one first. It does 1 damage, it defeats Treat. I get 2 souls. I go from 2 to 4. Wine Herald is revealed, we immediately give it health, and it takes its turn from wherever the Treat stops. So Treat moved, but it didn't attack, which means the Wine Herald is going to attack it in its turn, but it's not going to move. This Spire has already attacked, this Spire hasn't, so this Spire is going to attack. It does 1 damage. And that's it. Now, Wineheart has range on Aegis, it has range on Ash, it also has range on my Fortress Gate. If it has range on Fortress Gate, the priority is always the Fortress Gate. So it's going to attack my Fortress Gate, its attack stat is 1, so it does 1 damage to the Fortress Gate. The Fortress will always retaliate for 1. No matter what the range is, the Fortress always retaliates, even if the Fortress is defeated. Oh, one last thing. If the unit in your Fortress, you have the option of redirecting attack to your unit instead. Instead of taking the health from your Fortress, you can take the health from your unit. But I wasn't going to. I'm fine getting the damage on my Fortress. Alright, we go back to my turn. I think I'm going to get Ash out of the way for now. I'm going to think about it later where I'm placing it, but for now I'm just going to put him back. So with Ash I'm moving 1, 2, and these are blocked, they can't move. With Aegis I'm attacking the Wine Herald, he does 2 damage. Wine Herald is defeated, I get 1 source. And that's it. Back to Growth Tempest. Ogre Gross moves 1, 2. Grizzled Oak moves 1. Warbriar moves 1. Warbriar moves 1. Aspire Fire. This dispatch platform has a range on Ogre Gross, so roll 1 attack die, it does 2 damage. And that's it. At the beginning of my turn, I'm going to use one of my limited build option. So I'm marking it here. I'm spending 3 souls, so I go from 5 to 2 to add an attack upgrade here. Alright. With Ash I'm moving 1, 2. With Aegis I'm moving 1. With Architect I'm moving 1. And that's all I do. We go to Growth Tempest. Ogre Gross moves 1, 2. Grizzled Oak moves 1. Warbriar moves 1. Warbriar moves 1. Spire Fire. This Spire has a range on this. This Spire has a range on this. I'm attacking with this Spire first. So I'm rolling 2 attack die. It does 1 damage. Now I'm attacking with this Spire. I'm rolling 1 attack die. It does 1 damage. And that's it. We go back to my turn. Aegis moves 1. Architect moves 1. Fashioner moves 1. With Architect, I'm using his builder ability. So I'm using his builder ability to build a dispatch platform here for free. So I'm flipping him to the normal side. And with Ash, I'm moving 1 and 2. I want to keep him closed in case I need to bring him in to do some damage. We go to Growth Thunderstorm. So Ogre Growth moves 1, 2. Grizzled Oak moves 1. Wolverine moves 1. Wolverine moves 1. Spire Fire. I'm attacking with this Spire first. I'm attacking the Ogre Growth. Does 2 damage. It defeats the Ogre Growth. I get 3 souls. I go from 2 to 5. Taproot is revealed. We immediately give it its health. This Spire hasn't attacked. It will attack Taproot. Please don't roll a 2. It will attack. Great. Now, Taproot attack. It can attack Aegis, Architect, this dispatch platform, or Ash. So, it can't defeat any of them. It can't damage Aegis, but it can damage anything else. So we check the attack priority. You can see the hero it can damage has priority over the Spire and minion it can damage, which means it's going to attack Ash for 1. Ash doesn't have range, so it can't retaliate from range. We go back to my turn. Aegis can't move, so they all stay where they are. With Ash, I'm moving here. And that's it. Now, Spire Fire. No Spire has range on my unit. Now I attack. I can choose the order I'm attacking. I'm attacking with Ash first. I do 3 damage. That's enough to defeat the Taproot. So Taproot never went to 1. It never signed. We go back to Growth Thunderstorm. So Grizzled Oak moves 1. Wolverine moves 1, 2. Wolverine moves 1, 2. Spire Fire. I'm attacking the Grizzled Oak. I do 3 damage. I also use my Splash Talent and do 1 damage to all adjacent units. We go back to my turn. Aegis moves 1. Architect moves 1. If I move it 2 again, I'm not making progress, so I have to move it only 1. And Fashioner moves 1. With Ash, I'm moving back again, so I'm moving 1, 2. Let me use one of my last limited build option before I move. So you can use your limited option at the beginning of your turn. So I'm going to use my last limited build option right now. I'm going to spend 3 souls, so I go from 7 to 4. And I use my last limited build option to add an attack ability. Now I do my movement. With Arch I'm moving 1, 2. With Aegis I'm moving 1. With Architect I'm moving 1. With Fashioner I'm moving 1. End of Architect movement, I'm using his Builder ability to add an upgrade. Again, the upgrade capacity of Dispatch platform is 3. But since I'm using the Builder ability of Architect, I can break that rule, go over that. The Architect is at normal size, so it goes back to my barracks. And that's it. So, Grizzled Oak moves 1, Warbriar moves 1, 2. With this Warbriar, I have the option of lateral movement. I don't think I want to use it. It doesn't really matter. So, Spire Fire. This one has range on this one and this one. If I attack this one, I can make the good use of all of my splash. Yeah, why not? So, I'm attacking the Warbriar. I do 1 damage. I'm also using my splash talent, do 1 damage to all adjacent units. We go back to my turn. Aegis moves 1. Fashioner moves 1, 2, 3. I'm using the improve ability, the improved talent of the Fashioner. I'm spending 2 souls to add an upgrade to this dispatch platform. I'm adding an attack upgrade. Now with Aegis, I'm attacking 2. That's enough to defeat the Grizzled Oak. So Grizzled Oak is defeated. And I get 3 souls. Go from 2 to 5. Since it's defeated, it can't retaliate. Taproot is revealed. We immediately give it its full health. We go back to Grove Thunderstorm. So Taproot is blocked, it can't move. Warbriar can't move. This Warbriar can make a lateral movement. I'm not going to. So I'm attacking with Dispatch platform. I can choose the target. I'm choosing the Warbriar as the target. I do 3 damage. That's enough to defeat the Warbriar. I get 1 source. And I also use the Splash talent. Do 1 damage to all of this. Now unit that can attack will attack. So this Taproot can attack Aegis, Fashioner, or Dispatch platform. It can't damage Aegis. It can damage Fashioner, or it can damage the Dispatch platform. It's going to prioritize the Spire, so it will damage the Dispatch platform. So 1 damage is enough to take the attack upgrade. We go back to my turn. So Aegis can't move further, so it just stays where he is. And with Fashioner, I can make a lateral movement. I don't see the point. But with Fashioner, I am going to use his improve ability. I'm spending 2 souls to add another upgrade here. He's already beefed up. I don't see a reason, but I have a lot of souls that's going to be wasted anyway, so why not? Alright, now I have to attack. Aegis is attacking 2. That's enough to defeat the Taproot. And that's it. We go to Grove Thunderstorm. Warbriar moves 1, 2. it impales Aegis, so 1 damage. Again, impale is not an attack, so armor doesn't reduce it. Only damage from attack reduces the armor. So it impales Aegis, it does 1 damage. Now Aspire Fire, this Aspire has range on it. Here I made a mistake, I should have rolled only 1 attack die because one of my attack upgrade was lost because the Aspire was attacked last turn. So I should have rolled only 1 attack die. It wouldn't have mattered because it had only 1 health left and the damage would have been enough to defeat it. But that was a mistake on my part. I should have only rolled 1 attack die. Now back to the game. It does 2 damage, it defeats the Warbriar. I get 1 source. And Warbriar is defeated. My enemy doesn't have any unit in the game, so my hero is in campfire mode. So from now on, my units will be just marching toward the fortress gate. So Aegis moves 1, Fashioner moves 1, 2. Spirefire, this lethal is attacking Aegis. It does 2 damage, armor reduces to 1. Again, Grove Tender, back to my turn. Aegis moves 1, Fashioner moves 1. This lethal, okay, for the lethal, you have to, it will attack a unit that it can defeat before it can, a unit that it can damage. Whenever you are counting a unit that it can defeat or it can damage, you always assume the highest roll. So for 1 attack, the highest roll would be 2. So in this case, theoretically, it can defeat Aegis, but it can't possibly defeat Fashioner, so it will prioritize Aegis. So it will attack Aegis. So nothing. Again, Aegis moves 1, Fashioner moves 1, 2, 3. The Spirefire attacking Aegis, 1 damage. It's reduced to 0, the armor. Aegis move 1, Fashioner moves 1, 2. Aspire fires. Nothing. Aegis attack the Spire. It has the ability Salt, so it removes the bottom upgrade before it attack. Now it attack, removes the other upgrade. And that's it. Again, Aegis moves 1, Fashioner moves 1. Lethal still has range on Aegis, it will attack Aegis. It did 2 damage, it did defeat Aegis. The next one is immediately revealed. It gets its health. And that's it. Fashioner attacks the lethal. Aegis moves 1. Fashioner moves 1. Let me reveal this one as well. There is no point, but I don't want to go there and defeat the fortress because that's not my one of my objective anyway. I am going to reveal this. So it's the Bounty Hunter. It has 4 health, 2 movement, and it has fair fight. So again, if your goal is to defeat the fortress, there is no point revealing this because it's the last round. The source that you are getting here is useless. But I didn't want to defeat the sorcerer. That's not one of my objectives. I don't really care about it. So I am going to reveal it just to show it. So what's verified? This unit attack stat is equal to that of the unit it is attacking or retaliating against. So again, I have the option of not revealing it, but I am going to reveal it. Now, Aegis has to attack it. It will attack the Bounty Hunter for 2. Bounty Hunter has 3rd fight, so it will retaliate the same value, so it retaliates for 2. Again, retaliation is not attack. The armor does not reduce. And that's it. So, again, Aegis moves 1. Fashioner moves 1. With Aegis, I have the option of attacking the bounty hunter or attacking the fortress. I'm attacking the fortress. I'm attacking the fortress 2, so it goes from 10 to 8. It retaliates, defeat Aegis. The anarchist is revealed. With Fashioner, I'm attacking the bounty hunter. The bounty hunter for 1. The bounty hunter retaliates for 1. And that's it. Back to my turn. Before I move, I have to roll for this anarchy. 5 or 6, the anarchist goes away. 3, so it doesn't go away. Here I have the option of lateral movement again. I don't have to, but I'm going to use it. I'm moving 1. And with Fashioner, I'm moving 1. So, Spire Fire. This Spire has a range on the anarchist. It does 2 damage. And that's it. With Fashioner, I'm attacking the fortress, so 1 damage. The fortress retaliates for 1. With Anarchist, I'm attacking the fortress, so 3 damage. 7 to 4. The fortress retaliates for 1. Defeat the Anarchist. Again, the fortress always retaliates. It's not like the unit that if it's already retaliated, it won't retaliate anymore. Fortress always retaliates. Back to my turn. Again, with Fashioner, I can make a lateral movement. I'm not going to. I can attack the fortress or this bounty hunter. I'm attacking the... Let me attack this bounty hunter, clear it out. Since it's defeated, it won't retaliate. I get 3 souls. Go from 5 to 8. Back to my turn. Again, I have the option of moving laterally. I'm not going to. I'm attacking the fortress, so 1 damage. Fortress retaliates for 1. 1 more damage. The fortress retaliates for 1. Defeats my Fashioner, and that's the end of the wave. The last minion is defeated. That's the end of the wave. So, we check our objectives again. First objective, use an architect to construct a dispatch platform, Spire and Hex B. We did that in wave 2. We used our architect, build that dispatch platform on Hex B. Defeat both Shrubbery Spire and D-Hexes. We did that as well. And have 5 or more Fortress Gate health at the end of wave 3. So it is the end of wave 3. We have 8 health. So it is 5 or more. We built this dispatch platform using our architect. And we defeated both of these shrubberies here. So we achieved all of our 3 objectives. We gained 3 renown. And we avoided all loss conditions. So our Fortress Gate is not defeated and Ash is not defeated. And that's the end of it. End of scenario, you also check if there is any wrap-up that you need to take note of. So here we can see there is a wrap-up. Take a note of how much renown you earned in this scenario, as it will impact your starting fortress advancement if you play this scenario again. In this case, it will affect if you play the scenario again, but usually the wrap-up makes you take note of something. It will affect the scenario after that. So you need to take a note of that, and that's the end of this scenario. Before I end this, I want to mention something about competitive game. Competitive game, if the wave 4 ends and nobody have managed to defeat all of its opponents, the game ends and you check the fortress strengths. Whoever has the higher fortress strengths wins the game. Fortress strength is your health plus the upgrades that you have. For example, if this was a competitive game and we are counting my fortress strengths at the end of the game, it would have been 8 plus 3 upgrade that I have. So it would have been 11. So again, in a competitive game, if a player managed to defeat all of his opponents in a game, the game ends immediately. If they don't, by the end of wave 4, you check the fortress strengths. Whoever has the highest will win the game. And that's it. That's Cloudspire. I can see it could be a lot. There's a lot of rules that you have to keep in mind, but just try to keep everything in order. So just remember every time the thing that you can do at the beginning of your turn will always come first, then movement, spire firing, then attack, and so on and so forth. As long as you keep that in mind and try to follow them in order, it's not going to be like impossible to follow the rules. And even if you did make a mistake, if you could run it back, just try to run it back. If you couldn't, don't sweat it that much. The game is complicated, mistake happens, so it is what it is. So that's it. That's Cloudspire. I hope the explanation was clear enough. Any other question or comment you have, put it down below. I try to get to as fast as I can. And until next time, happy gaming.